Hey, hey, hey! What's going on, everybody? We are back once again um, for the Anchor series, running a business in the world and not of the world. This space is where you can come and listen to the testimony of other successful entrepreneurs who are doing just that, running their business in the world and not of the world, being anchored in Christ in everything that we do, not just in our everyday lives, but in our business, in our parenting, our marriage, our relationships, our businesships, and everything and all. So we are at the end of February. We're at the end of February, y'all. So March is upon us. So just a quick update. We're going to be testing out doing this live stream at a little bit of a later time. We'll probably roll it back an hour. I'm thinking after March, till come April, we'll probably test out rolling this back an hour. And then, we'll do that. And then sooner than we think, Lord willing, we're going to be in a studio shooting this, Bassett Film Co. studio. So y'all stay in prayer with me on that. But I'm not going to hold y'all. We are going to go ahead and get started with this Anchor series, world and not of the world. So yeah, let's go. Let's do this. It's gonna be good tonight. There he is.
Hello, hello, hello.
There he is. What's going on, bro?
What's going on? Sitting here just excited about tonight. Excited. Got some good news that just came in. I'll text you and your wife later, and we'll let you know about that. So
Awesome.
it's a good day. It's a good day.
Man, I ain't got the news yet, and I'm already excited.
Wait, say again?
I ain't even heard the news yet, and I'm already excited.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, man. Listen, man, I know we had to run yesterday, so hey, I'm glad y'all came through, man. The time just slipped my mind. I'm like, I gotta go shoot.
Yeah, I could tell. When y'all said y'all had to be in Deep Katy, I'm like, no, ain't no way y'all gonna be in Deep Katy in 30 minutes. Like
Right.
y'all gotta go. But no, yesterday was a good time. Thank you for inviting us. We had a really good time. Apologize for being late again, because we were definitely late. My in-laws or in-loves, I don't like to call them in-laws. It feels so a step removed, but my in-loves popped by last minute. And but yeah, no, yesterday was cool. So thank you again for inviting us.
Hey, man, thank you for coming. Look, better late than never. And in-loves pop up. In-loves pop up. They do that.
They do. Yeah, I didn't know. This is my initial set of in-loves.
Yeah.
And it was yeah. I was like, oh, okay. They was like, we down the street. Are y'all home? Oh, sure.
Yeah. Hey, we get that good old.
Oh, they just come knock. They don't even call.
And we like, who that? You got somebody coming through?
Listen, I be live
In
when I go to the
love.
door.
And love, you gotta love them, man.
Correct. My
You
hair
gotta
falls
love
over
them.
there.
I love them truly. I love them truly, man. I really do. Yeah. So, man, let's go ahead and get started. Let's get this going. Before you introduce yourself and what it is that you do, let me ask you, what scripture keeps you anchored when it comes to your business? What business or life period? What scripture keeps you anchored?
Yeah. I'm going to say Romans 8. It's my favorite scripture. First off, Romans is my favorite book of the Bible because it's so straight to the point, and I'm a straight to the point type of person. And so like when you read scripture, when you read the Bible, some stuff is prescriptive, some stuff is descriptive, right? Some stuff we have to take the context of what was going on at that time, or even if you look at the Proverbs, which is about wisdom, which can be seen many different ways, still anchored in Christ, right? But Romans is just like cut and dry. You don't really have to do too much figuring out and looking. It is very cut and dry. So one, I love the book of Romans, and then Romans 8, chapter 8. It's not even a scripture, it's the verse. Chapter 8, it starts off, well, I guess Romans 8:1. That therefore there is now no condemnation for those that are in Christ Jesus. And why I love that verse so much is because it basically anything that you might be going through yourself, your own mind, your flesh, the enemy, other people, whatever they try to raise up against you or try to make you feel like you are not who God says you are, or even yourself, because we got to deal with our own stuff that comes up, right?
Yes.
That scripture for me reminds me that all of that is moot. All of that is actually non-existent, and there is no condemnation because I am in him, right?
Yeah.
So it's a reconfirming scripture for me that anchors me in life and throughout my business.
Yes, man. Yes. I mean, we just think about, like you said, dealing with yourself, especially when it comes to business entrepreneurship and stepping out there. And we've had conversations, and you've had even correct me on my speech and my thinking. So I can attest to
Yes.
that. And
Yeah.
that is so key, man.
Yeah.
That is so key. Because this is on YouTube as well. I'm dropping that in the description, that scripture.
Bet.
For people to hold
Shout
on
out to the YouTube fam.
Yes, yes, which is growing, man.
Yeah.
Which is growing. So if y'all here,
Good.
hey, go hop on the YouTube for the other past episodes, and other content on entrepreneurship and the faith and videography. So y'all hit the subscribe button, all the extra stuff.
All that. Notification bells, all the things, please. Thank you. We need that.
Yeah. All of that.
That's how you can support. It's
Hey,
free to subscribe. It's free to subscribe.
It's free. It's free, you know, and go ahead and watch it and learn something. Because it is some good testimonies, man. Some other past guests who's been on here has really dropped some gems, man. Really dropped some gems. Y'all be coming on here dropping gems, man. So I know tonight is gonna be good. So cool. So awesome scripture. I mean, what scripture isn't? But definitely we there. So go ahead and tell the people your name, what industry that you're in, and then what is it specifically that you do, your job.
Got it. Okay, so my name is Quentin R. Giles, or you can call me Q. It's easier. What is it that I do? I always have such a hard time answering this because technically I do a lot of stuff, but I think what my foundation is content creation, which my content has always centered around politics and update. And it's crazy to even say content creation because I'm literally just reporting what has happened and giving my opinions, but at its core, I am creating the content for people to consume, right? And so that content creation about what's going on in politics and my thoughts about it has led to a career in TV where I give political commentary on like real live shows. It's really kind of it still blows me to this day when I think about it sometimes because I don't have a background in journalism. I'm not a political science major. My majors for my undergrad and master's degree was social work. I just got on the internet and started talking about politics, and I've been on nationally syndicated shows for the past 2 years now, just giving my commentary. So that's what most people know me as. I am an entrepreneur because in that commentary, I created a business called Just Giles Productions that I flew or funneled all of my content creation through, and the book that I wrote as well. But that has also just lended itself to, I can say it. I'm gonna say a little bit. Has lended itself to partnering with other businesses to further grow out businesses that have nothing to do with what I do. So joint venturing with other businesses. That's what I'll say. Joint venturing with other businesses to create other revenue streams because I'm not going to be able to talk forever, but I also have these other aspirations and things I like to do. So I've learned more about business and what I can do with the company, the LLC that I actually formed, to also collaborate in a legitimate business formation type way with other established businesses to create more businesses. So that's what I do. I hope that made sense, people. I hope that made sense.
Look, so I definitely got what you were saying, but for everybody who is watching, if If it didn't make sense, drop it in the chat. Because I definitely want you to follow along and engage, ask questions. So
Yeah,
if you need him to break it down in another way, go ahead and drop that in there.
I will. I will if need be. But maybe it made sense.
Yeah. I'm looking through the comments. People still talking about their in-laws popping up.
The who?
They still talking about their in-laws popping up at their door.
Oh, the in-love. The in-love. Yeah, that was new. That was different.
Yeah.
It was cool, but it was different.
Yeah. Okay, no questions on it. All right, so good. So how did, hold on. I just want to collect. Okay. So how is it that you got started into this, into doing what you do?
So, I think for me, well, when we talk about content creation and specifically like around politics, a couple of years back, a Boeing 737 crashed in Africa and a lot of people were killed. And what we found out, I consume the news, I like it. And what we found out was that a lot of pilots were actually complaining about this Boeing 737. A lot of people may have been up to date that Boeing just recently reintroduced the 737 back into the fleet to be flown. But back then, a couple of years ago, I'm gonna say about 3.5, 4 years ago, when the plane crashed, all these reports started coming out from all of these pilots who they have this internal, I guess you could say, complaint system. They were making the legitimate complaints that a stick gear shift, I can't remember all the specifics because it was so long ago. Anyway, the story pissed me off. This is how everything started. Because what it told me was that those people died needlessly because there was someone who was actually complaining about the functions of the plane, right? Legitimate pilots that were flying the plane, and the company didn't do anything. So it really pissed me off, and that was the very first video I did. Now, I would say that video was a rant. It was legit. It's still on YouTube to this day. I think it's my very first video on YouTube.
Okay.
It was a rant, but because I was so mad. But the response that I got from it was overwhelming at the time because it did some views. And so I was like, well, now, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. I always knew I had like a voice or a presence, but I just didn't think, I think at that time in the social media landscape, to do well on social media, you had to be like, nobody was really creating content. You were selling sex or you looked a certain type of way. Right, you had the aesthetic type of deal. If you look on my page, I don't even follow the aesthetic flow. I post what I post when I want to post. I don't have time. I don't have that much attention span. So at the time, I never thought that that was a space that I could thrive in because I didn't fit either of those categories. But when that happened, it was like, oh, okay, people like this. I liked doing it. So I slowly started kind of just talking politics, which is something that I was already talking, but it was with my mom. That's kind of what we bonded over because she keeps us to date. Like she'll call me and inform me of stuff that I've missed to tell me you need to post this to your I don't call them followers, your supporters, because they need to know X, Y, and the Z, right? But that's how it got started. It was the people needlessly dying on the 737, and then it just kind of snowballed into there to where I was working a full-time job. But I would come home and I created this show called Cooking with Q where I would meal prep and talk politics. So I'm cooking and I'm talking to people, but it was live. Now keep in mind, that was pre-saved, so my mouth was real vulgar. It was very, very vulgar at that time. I was giving the people all of my raw thoughts. Yeah. I see somebody in the comments said, I missed the cooking show. You've been here that long.
Hey, that's a supporter right there.
It was very vulgar. Yeah, it was very. I've deleted all those episodes. You can't find them nowhere.
But I was actually we find them.
Oh no, you can't find them. I deleted that anyway. You know how this is a tidbit. I'm gonna say this. This is a tidbit. It's always so interesting. I'm gonna go out and then come back in. It's so interesting to me, like how celebrities get caught up, and I don't view myself as a celebrity, but how celebrities get caught up for old tweets and old videos. About 2 years ago, I took a week and I went through everything I have ever posted. And I was like, delete that. Nope, delete that. No, because you grow, right? You grow as you get older. So some of the things that I said then, I may not think that way, but I can also realize that those things were highly insensitive or inappropriate. So anyway, that was that. Come on back. But But yeah, that's how I got started. That's literally how I got started. So I would cook. Tammy Thurston, she's been here since the beginning. I would cook, and then I would talk about talk about politics. It then I moved away from the cooking show because I found out it was actually a chef's name. It was called Cooking with Q, and that was her business's name. So I didn't know that, right? And this is before I formed my LLC. This is before I was even thinking that I was going to have a business surrounding me talking. So when I found that out, I was like, well, I'm not going to keep, doing the show and using the hashtag and kind of messing up her flow. So then I just started randomly talking. I did the YouTube, and I've gone through several different variations of what my content looks like, from long form to short form. And it's just really just grown. That's all I can really say. It has literally just continued to grow year after year.
Yeah, man, that's good, man. I love hearing how people kind of just not get thrown into it, but more so kind of like answer to a calling that you have, a gift, a talent, and not wasting those talents, hiding it and burying it, not being like that guy.
So I'm gonna say this because I think this is very important. I had been talking online for a year. It was a year, and I was still working my 9 to 5, and I was a contract social worker. I was living in Vegas, and I remember my contract was about to end, and it was the Wednesday before the Friday my contract was ended, so the same week. And I remember my alarm went off on a Wednesday, and I was just like, at this point, I'm saved, right? At this point, I've given my life to Christ. I got to just put that for context. I've given my life to Christ at this point, right? But I had been talking for about a year, and I remember laying in the bed, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I just couldn't do it. I actually have never seen myself working a 9 to 5. I never even saw myself going to school. I never wanted that, but I understood to a certain degree that that's what you were supposed to do, right? So it's even crazy when I sometimes think about, I have a master's degree, because I hated, when I say I hated school, I hated school. I thought that it was pointless. I never understood working somewhere for 40, 50 years at the same job to retire, and you can't enjoy your life or go travel or do the things until you that age. So I was always anti that, but I did it anyway. But that Wednesday, I remember at this point, again, talking online for about a year, not even making money. Now, I was not making money off of my content. This was before content creators were monetizing any of this. When was that? This was 2019. This was October 2019, actually. And it was the Wednesday, and I was just like, Lord, I can't do this no more. I can't do it no more. And so the Friday, I let the contract lapse. I didn't look for another contract. I packed up my car, and I drove back down to Texas from Vegas. And I moved in with my grandmother. Literally, a week later is when I got the email from Great Day, Washington, in Washington, D.C., which is the #3 market in America, to do a political commentary hit. And again, we're talking about purely, I had 3,000 followers at the time. 3,000. So you couldn't tell me it wasn't God, because I don't have a journalistic background. I don't have a political science background. I'm only talking about what I think and what I feel and what these political stories mean to me for a year on social media with 3,000 folks. And I'm in the #3 market in America giving my opinions and thoughts on the state of play in DC, of all places, where the capital is. Right. So I'm finna get, I got goosebumps. I haven't told the story in so long. You can't tell me it wasn't God, right? Now the funny thing is, I'm like, yeah, bet, I'm booking it, I'm going. Mind you, it's not paid. It's not paid, so I gotta pay to get out there. But it got pushed back because of Trump's first impeachment. So the thing that I love to do was stopping me from doing what I love to do. So we actually I didn't get my first TV booking until January of 2020, or actually be able to do it because of that. And then shortly after pandemic and all that other stuff. But that's a long way to say this is what I do, and that's how I got it.
Okay, cool. Look, hey man, explain yourself. Tell the story. Tell the story, man, as it comes, because we know what comes about from testimonies, man. So And that is what this is about. Um, man, I mean, just to see God's working hand,
Yes.
to be able to take what we think is a little, though He
Yeah.
knows it's enough,
Yeah.
like, man. So in the midst of all of this, like, why did you choose to go this route? I mean, yes, this was the doors were opening up for you,
Mhm.
but even though the Lord had a plan for you, we don't have to. We have free will.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We don't have to follow His plan. Why did you? Why did you take this route? Why, even though I know how, but why?
Yeah. I think that I had to give it a shot. For me, I had to. Ever since I was a little boy, I always wanted to perform. I just didn't know how or what it looked like, right? So when the opportunity presented itself, I was even, me and you just talked about imposter syndrome yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I had that a lot. Like, what? You want me to come talk? Or like just even being comfortable with walking through the door. I don't really have anything else to say, but like I just had to. I just had to. I just had to. And if it didn't work, I think I always thought like if this didn't work, I did the thing I was supposed to do with getting the education. So if all else fails, I can go back to that. That is going to be my absolute last resort option.
Yeah.
Like last resort. But I think I just had to. I didn't want to regret not walking through the door. And I didn't want to shoulda,
Yeah.
coulda, woulda that thing. And nor did I want to get in my own way. Because I feel like with imposter syndrome, we literally are getting in our own way. Like somebody is opening the door, someone is inviting you in, and you are stopping the progression because you don't feel like you deserve to be there. And one of the tricks I taught myself, and sometimes I'll still do, it doesn't come up as much now, but if it does, I'll revert back to it, is even in that imposter syndrome, which is really a confidence thing, right?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. What I was telling myself was nobody knows that I'm not confident right now. Only I know.
Yeah.
If I choose to share it or if I choose to show it, then everyone knows.
Yeah.
But nobody, only I know. So don't show it, even though I'm nervous about this thing, even though I'm kind of fearful, don't show it and do the thing anyway. So I just had to. I had to go for it.
Yeah. So whenever you hear title of the show, running a business in the world, not of the world,
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean to you?
So what that means, well, it's it's a calling to follow Christ. Let's get there, right? It's a calling to follow Christ. It's not easy. Um, it's easy. It's hold on, let me say that. It is easy, and it's not easy. It could be very easy if we just continue to lean on Him and lean on the Spirit that He's given us. That's that. It could be so easy.
Yeah.
But we are fallen and we are sinful folks, right? Myself all the way included. I'm the first in line. And so that's when it becomes not easy, when I start to try to do it my way or the way I think it should be done. And so what it means to me when we talk about being in the world but not of the world is really following the commands that Jesus has laid out for us. And sometimes they hurt. Sometimes it sucks, right? Because some of those commands actually cause you to deny yourself the thing that you loved. Love or loved. Present or past tense. I mean, I don't know how deep we're gonna talk, but
As deep as it can go. As deep.
some of those commands, they really do. They cause you to deny yourself. And
Yeah.
the world in which we live in, first off, nothing is new under the sun. So I'm hesitant in saying in today's time, because what we're dealing with today, they dealt with it in the ancient times as well. It just might have looked different, but nothing's
Right.
new under the sun.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say, in the world, it is acceptable to gratify yourself in things that God has said not to do, in things that God considers unholy, in things that God, what I just said not to do. So what it looks like is that constant submission, or what I think about is that constant submission to Christ, to follow what he says. He says that if you love me, you will follow my commands, right? You'll pick up your cross and you will follow me.
Yeah.
And so for me, I had to even get to a space where it's like, you know, God know my heart. That was my thing, right? The Lord know my heart. Well, according to his word, my heart is wicked. So
it's never good.
He does know, right? He does know my heart. And so, but what he's called me to do is to pick up my cross and follow him if I love him, right? So it's picking up my cross daily and following him, which can get tough because we all fall and we all struggle. But I think the beautiful thing is that there's grace and there's repentance and there is re-acceptance every time you come with a genuine and sincere and contrite heart towards him, right? So
yes.
that's
Thank
what I
you,
think.
Lord. Yes. And we got to thank the Lord for that right there.
Absolutely.
Boy.
Because I definitely, you know, I never used to understand when old people say I should have been dead a long time ago. And it was funny as a kid, right? It truly was. It was funny as a kid, but it's like, no, I should have been dead a long time ago.
Man.
Like, Kiki aside, no, for real, though.
I think about that in my prayer time, man. I'd be like, yo, I think about some stuff, man. I think about things I've repented for, and I'd be like, ain't no way that I am still here.
Yeah.
Like, but
yeah.
Praise the Lord for his unfailing love and his grace and his mercy.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah. So, following his commands.
Yeah.
Submitting to him and following his commands. And then you're explaining Romans 8. So with that, how do you stay anchored?
You know, since we're being real here, I'm gonna say I've gotten into a season that has been real difficult lately. Ever since the death of my grandmother, I'm gonna just be 100. It's been difficult, which is crazy because my grandmother was suffering, so I asked the Lord to take her, right? But then when he took her, it was like, haha, kidding, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's actually been this is a season I've never experienced since I gave my life to the Lord. This is a season that I've never experienced where it has been difficult for me to not pray first, right? Because that death made me numb. It made me numb. It made me angry. It made me sad. It made me feel like, I don't know that I ever questioned why, but I actually do really remember a lot of the anger, right? I was angry that the world was even just still going on, as if the world shouldn't go on. Like, I understand it's irrational. But prior to that, anchored for me was like praying every night, asking him, seeking his face, reading his word. Before I make moves, like, is this the right move or not? But it was like second nature. In this season of my life, I have to actively do that. And I pray and I hope and I think one day the numbness will fully absolve and I will be back there. But it is I have to turn my mind, renew my mind, if you will. I have to actively give my mind to God. I have to actively be like, oh, wait, Lord, should I do this? Should I not? I have to actively lean on his spirit, too, because he never stopped talking. When my grandmother died, I stopped listening. Just keeping it 100. So he ain't never stopped talking, because even last night, he was talking last night. And so I have to remember to move on those things. When he tells me to pray, pray. When the spirit is telling me pray, even if it's not pray for this, like my wife, he talks to her in a very clear, specific way. You need to pray for X, right? Then we put it on our prayer list. For me, it's you need to pray. You need to ask me. He will put it on my heart and in my mind. And that's so beautiful and loving because, again, he doesn't have to meet me in my place of need, nor does he have to meet me in a space that I will actually hear him, right? He's God and he can say what he wants to say. And I should just get it. But he continues to meet me there. So I say all that to say because I want to be transparent in that even when you say, how do you stay anchored? It was almost hard to answer the question because it's been such a rocky season.
Yeah.
And it's a new one for me. I've never experienced it. But what I will default to and what I will continue to do is I have to continue to reorient my mind and continue to lean into what his spirit tells me to do when he tells me to do it.
Yeah. Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. You started to have my eyes burning at one point.
What
Seriously,
I
man. I was like, I'm not gonna be sitting here crying on no live stream, bro. Like, that ain't gonna happen.
What I had said, I don't even know what I said.
but because, well, I really resonate with that, man, because I went through something very similar when my father passed, right? And of course, his birthday was just days ago.
Happy belated. Yeah,
and
I
so,
saw that.
Yeah. And so when you was saying that, I was like, oh man, like during that time, like man, yeah,
it's hard.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
it's hard. You know, it's hard. It's hard. And for me, I was talking to my pastor a while ago, and it was just like, you know, and ever since here's the thing too, like I fooled myself as well, because ever since I gave my life to Christ, everything's been good. I've had rocky moments, but for the most part, everything has been good. When my grandma died, my business tanked. We talking about entrepreneurship. My business tanked. I stopped showing up. Like my supporter base, they clearly saw that I was no longer creating content. Like I had a Patreon. I was doing YouTube shows every night. Like a lot of that stopped. I just didn't have it in me. But that was also my revenue stream. Like my supporter base funds my life. They really do. That's why I don't call them followers. They are my supporters. They assist in paying these lights that's on. They by, you know, signing up for my Patreon, giving to my Cash App, all those things. But when my grandmother passed, like I stopped showing up. I couldn't show up anymore. That's another reason why I've going back to the earlier point. If y'all just tuning in, when Isaiah posts this, y'all need to go back and watch the beginning. But that's the other reason why I've been partnering with other businesses to do these joint ventures. Because what was beautiful, I will say this, I thought about this the other day. The one good thing, I guess you could say, that came out of my grandmother's death was I realized that if I'm in a position to where I can't speak or I can't show up, I don't get paid. That's not sustainable. I got a new wife. We want a family at one point. We got bills to pay. That's not sustainable. So that is another reason why I have been, there's another business that I'm going into a joint venture with so that we can duplicate his business. Because what I understand is the business model I always have to show up to get paid. And that's just not sustainable. Anyway, let me loop back around. Sorry, I'm going in tangents because it's just so much.
No, that's key. That all tie in, you know. And we were talking about that, man.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, you know, once she passed, like up into that, things were going good. My career was going great. I'm on TV, you know what I'm saying? Every other day, I'm here, I'm getting this brand deal, that brand deal, money right, money tanked. I stopped showing up. Stuff tanked. My business went in the red for the first time in 2 years, a year and a half. It went in the red. So a lot of those, it's been hard, not only, you know, dealing with the loss of my grandmother, who was like a second parent, who was a second parent, and then two, being a new business, and when I say I fooled myself, like it was all roses. I've always been in the black. I've always had an overflow. For the first time hitting the red or the negative, or my business losing money a year and a half in, and then also thinking like every time I pray, like the Lord gives me everything I want every time I pray. It may be hard with some stuff, but He gives it to me every time. Like that was it. It's been difficult. So, I do believe that it's on the upswing now. Not just because my business is rebounding, not just because I'm doing better with the death of my grandmother, but because us as Christians, we go through seasons. We go through these things, like so many things that I thought was like super funny when the older saints would say it. It's actually real life. It's actually real life. And so it's like, this has just been my my season of what we would deem in human terms as like undesirable, as the downtrodden, right? The
Yeah.
losing of the money, the death of a family member. I'm not gonna say wavering faith, but being mad at God and just saying, I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that. Maybe offline, that may be a little too raw. So, but it's been a season, and so I am thankful and I'm prayerful that that cloud that I constantly felt around me for the past couple months has been clearing out more and more, and I find myself leaning into God more and more while still having my moments. But He's still so gracious with me in those moments.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord for that. Somebody said the by and by. You know those old sayings, the by and by, yeah.
Listen. It's like everything the old people were saying. It's like, man, that is true. I was laughing as a kid, but that stuff is true.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, but I used to somewhat get upset, man, like during the testimony time. It's like, all right, look, about 2 or 3 y'all get up, but don't everybody need to get up. Y'all sit down so we can get out of here. But now it's like I look for it. I miss the fact that the church no longer does that. Because it's people going through what you're going through. And come on, man. Where's the testimony?
Yeah. I think I always get confused. I don't know if I'm supposed to say my hour. The church I attend. The church I attend, like, I think we're trying to get back into that. I feel like church has probably moved away from that because it's a double-edged sword because it's hard to tell people not to say stuff. But it's a certain way that you supposed to talk, right? So like you could give a testimony, but we don't really need the graphic details, right? Yes. Like we got kids in here. We appreciate that the Lord has brought you through, but we don't really need the graphics. Yeah. So I kind of feel like that's probably why churches got away from it, because you can't once you get a mic. One thing in show business, and I'm gonna link it to the church. One thing in show business, if I have the mic, I am never giving my mic away. If I'm the host, I never give the mic away because now you've lost control. And the other person can just say whatever they want to say. So I'll take a mic and hold it. But maybe the church has moved away from that because you have no way of knowing what somebody's about to say.
You don't know. And we heard some crazy testimony, bro. People saying some off the wall stuff. So I mean, that's true. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Take your time.
That's my brother in Haiti calling me, man.
We might need to get that.
I'm gonna call him. Yep, I'm calling him in a minute. All right, no, man, that's true, man. You do not know what's gonna come. I actually want to kind of run back to this thing anchored, and you were just pretty much explaining, praying every day, every night, like all the time before making a move. And I can honestly say, man, as we talk about these different seasons and these different times, I've never had that one consistent way to stay anchored. For this season and this time, this is how I was staying anchored. For another season and another time, this is how I had to stay anchored. What was working then didn't work now. And honestly, within those seasons of the growth, I mean, of staying anchored, the things I've been having to do has been requiring more of me. Yeah. More of my participation, more of my intentionality into doing. For an example, it was the season where I grew up in church, but I was just like, hey, I'm not going. I'm gonna do what I do. And probably like most people, they kind of start when you go off and you doing your own thing in college. I graduate at 18, like months after my father passed, and I'm moving to a whole new city and state. Come on, man. Going through what I'm going through, I shut everything down. And so at the time when I was like, okay, I'm softening my heart, open it up to the Lord, get my life together. All right. Just going to church was enough to keep me anchored. Yeah. And then I saw myself slipping back. That wasn't enough. Now I'm being involved in the church. being involved in ministry. Cool. That was working. Again, you see that kind of slip. And then, okay, now I need to do more. So more and more and more. Like I said, it's been requiring more of me to dive deeper in with Christ. And so here I
Yeah.
am, like yourself, and it's like a every day. Not even just like a every day, but like truly throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously, man. And then and on
Yeah.
on all kind of decisions that people would think like, oh, that's so minute. You can just no, not in this
Yeah.
season. Not in this season.
Yeah.
He's got to be involved in everything. Like to the point, since we're talking about business, truly making Christ the CEO. Like
Yeah.
when something happens with a company, you can't just do it. You got to run it up the chain and get approval.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then once they put it in approval and send it back to you, which is like days later, a week later, if not the next quarter, then you get the answer on if y'all can make that move. And it's been the same way, man. It's been like, all right, Lord, well, let me pray about this. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's not right away. Sometimes I'm sitting and I'm waiting. But that's how I've been having to stay anchored in this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Is that, you know? So just wanted to tie it
Yeah.
in, going back to that whole staying anchor part, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think no, I appreciate that. I think for me, even it made me think about like praying and moving for me. Because I will almost have analysis paralysis within the prayer, waiting on God to send me the sign, right? Like the
Man, yeah.
but what I've had to learn, and which it was really about like learning about myself as well, that and learning again what I mentioned earlier about like how God is so gracious. He really does speak to each one of us in ways that we can hear, right? There
Yeah.
are some negotiables and non-negotiables when it comes to our faith, right?
Yeah.
Non-negotiables. Jesus is the Son of God, right? He died and rose on the third day. Everything is through him, for him. The Spirit is the Spirit of God who lives in all of us and given to us that those who believe in Christ, right?
Yeah.
Non-negotiable in the faith.
Right.
Negotiables. The way he speaks to you is probably very different from how he speaks to me,
Right.
right? Now, he's never going to tell either one of us to do something that is contrary to his word,
Right.
but he may send us on two different assignments. So for me, I've learned in walking with him that I have to pray and walk. So I'm constantly walking and praying as I walk.
Yeah.
Praying as I walk, like, okay, boom, not that one. Okay, cool. Lord, if it's not right, close the door. Door get closed, may hurt. Boom. Okay, over here. Keep going.
Yeah.
Lord, if it's not right, close the door. If it's right, open it. Door open. Boom. I'm stepping in that one. So that's how I've been anchored and how I kind of walk with the Lord. I gotta walk and pray. Walk and pray.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad you shared that, man. I know outside of myself, somebody needed that.
Yeah.
Thank you. For real.
Thank him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you can share with us an example of a time where you were tempted to do something of the world, but yet you decided to run it in the world, but not of the world. You know, where you had that temptive time to do something with your business, but you,
That's all the time.
that's all the time.
That's all the time. I mean, honestly, I could probably be making so much more money right now. Like, just real talk. I could probably be making so much more money right now if I chose to lend my voice, my personhood, my presence, my platform to worldly causes. I could. I just really could. And so it's a constant decision. What I decided a long time ago was if I have to reason too hard, like I'm gonna pray about it again. For me and the Lord, I pray and I walk. I pray and I walk. If I got a reason too hard to do a deal, right? If I find myself, I'm starting to like trying to make it fit, it ain't it.
Yeah.
It's just not it. Are there some deals that require my intellect and that require Strategy, yes. So I'm not talking about that. I'm just not out here just jumping in stuff. But if I gotta, well, okay, but maybe this is what we can, you know what I'm saying? Like if if I find myself bending too much to make something fit, then I automatically know that's the conviction. That's the spirit in me, like in me, his spirit in me that's convicting me like that's not it.
Yeah.
So if that's not it, then I don't do that. And in that, yeah, sure, there has been, I guess I should count it as suffering, but I don't. I guess I should count it as a suffering, right? Because I could make more money. I could have way more money. I don't count it as a suffering, though, because I still trust that the Lord is guiding me in the right way. So
absolutely.
Maybe I should, because we should count it all joy. Maybe I should. I don't know. I'll pray about it and ask the Lord if I should be counting it. I don't know if I should or shouldn't. But I just don't right now. But that's all the time because of especially where I'm at now and the quote unquote career trajectory that I have right now. Right, I can see it going to the next level. I think a lot of people, not in a boastful way, can see it going to a whole nother level. How much quicker could I get there if I back down on the principles of Christ? Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But it's just not something I'm willing to do. I mean, even me posting the video of my wife, like, I feel like that probably rubbed. We got a lot of positive responses, but I do believe that rubbed somebody somewhere who's in positions of power to put me through the next door. Probably rubbed them a different type of way because they were expecting something totally different. But they got this. So, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm willing to accept those consequences. And I don't say consequences in a negative fashion. Consequences are really just the effect of something that we do, right? If you have children, if your children do something good, there's a consequence that they may get a treat from you, right? We just typically use consequence in a negative sense. But I'm willing to accept the consequences of not gaining the things of this world because I choose to live and showcase the life that the Lord has led me to do.
Yeah.
So, but that's an everyday thing. It's not even like a win. That's an everyday thing.
Well, that kind of answers, how do you overcome that temptation when those things come? So you already hit that on the head. So
I'm not willing. I'm not willing. I will say this, even though, like I said earlier, again, we later in it. So now, people, if you just joined it, make sure when Isaiah posts this, you go back and watch the beginning because we talked about some stuff earlier. But even like what I was talking about earlier of it being a season in this walk, there may be downfalls in that walk. But one thing that's consistent is I'm not willing, which is crazy. It almost may be psychotic. I am not willing to intentionally bring shame upon the Lord. Understanding I'm a human and I'm flawed and I'm fallible and I'll make mistakes, genuine mistakes. I think that's one thing, and there's grace and mercy for that. But where I am very resolute and will not compromise is I won't bring shame to him, or I won't make him feel shame because of a decision that I chose to do because I wanted money or I wanted fame. Because let's be real, I want to be on CNN. I want to be on MSNBC. I want to be on ABC. I want to be on all those things. Yes, I do. I don't hide that. I do. But I'm just not willing to do certain things to get there. And if that means that by following Christ that I will never get there, then I am okay with that. Even though I want it.
Yeah.
So.
You know what? As we're talking about running a business in the world and not of the world, it was something that you did that was like such an example. Another example of what we've been talking about. And your first show, Cooking with Q.
Oh yeah.
For you to see and know that there is somebody else who is running a business and is using that to not only just be like, let me not do it from a legal standpoint, like, well, she already has it, yada yada yada. But from a
Mm-hmm.
heart standpoint, your words was like, let me not even use the hashtags to mess up her flow. And all.
Yeah.
Like that that that's the that I hear the running the business in the word, not of the word, because the world would just be like, I don't want to get caught up in legal issues. But you had
Mm-hmm.
the heart and the love
Mm-hmm.
of Christ to be like, let me not just rain on her parade at all.
Yeah. That's, you know what? I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about the legal issues. Yeah, thank you, Lord. He's done a work. I was not always this person. Be clear. I really wasn't. The work is the work. The Lord has done a work on my heart. But I guess you're right. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. I really didn't. But that's glory to God. That is 100% a testament to God. Because had y'all met me maybe 2 years prior, maybe 2 years, it most likely would have been a different story.
And you know what? It's funny because we low key did, but just not in the space we're in now.
Right. Correct.
Like we really did. As a matter of fact, I think it was more than 2 years ago. It was like mid 2019.
It had to be, yeah, because yeah, maybe off and on, because I was still back and forward in between Houston and
Okay.
Vegas and Houston. So yeah, actually yes.
Yeah, because I think I left to go to the location in the Heights at the top of 2020. Because
Got it. So
because I
yeah,
was
yeah,
working there for months before the pandemic hit. But mind you, I
yeah.
was at that location that we were at for a good while before I even left.
Mm-hmm.
So man, that look at God.
That's the Lord.
Working stuff
That's,
out.
trust me, that's not me. That's I'm letting you know that's not me. That is truly the Lord. That's the
Oh
testament
yeah.
of doing. The word talks about the circumcision of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Not just when we talk about the Old Testament, and it talks about it in the New Testament, not just the circumcision on the outside, but the
Yeah.
circumcision of the heart, right?
Yeah.
And so I thank you for pointing that up, because that was actually encouraging to me to hear you say it, because I never thought about it that way, but it helps me even in like those moments. Remember again, y'all got to go back and watch. In the beginning of this, I said, when your self rises up, or like your flesh rises up, it makes you think that you are something that you're not. Like, that was encouraging to me to hear, like, man, the Lord has been doing the work even then. And so these moves that I make, and when I see things, it is because of him. So, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Circumcision of the heart,
Mm-hmm.
heart transplant, whatever. Him
All the
working on
things.
our hearts, man, is it, man. That is
Yeah.
so key. Anytime I'm reading about what Christ was doing as he was on this earth, like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what the law say. We're gonna take a little bit deeper
Yeah.
into your heart,
Absolutely.
not just your actions.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was just talking to a couple brothers about that, man. That whole you can look but not touch, like, guys that's with a girl or boyfriend, girlfriend, married, whatever. That whole you can look but you can't touch. Nah, bro,
Mm-hmm.
we stopping that, bro. It's about your heart. Oh
Mm.
yeah, Old Testament talk about don't get caught up, but Jesus, like, if you even think about
Listen,
sleeping with that one, if you've been lusting in your mind, bro, you've already done it.
I don't know who they lying to themselves. I don't know who thought they could look. I mean, maybe sure you could look but not touch, but like, if I look too long, I'm liable to be somewhere else. So I have to,
Bro,
zoom, zoom, zoom.
that
Like, I
whole
gotta
that whole look but don't touch, bro.
Yeah.
That is a snare. That is a
Yeah.
trap, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they fooling
what would
themselves.
make you think that you? Well, I don't know, bro. That's a whole another call, another line, another discussion
Yeah.
to talk
Yeah.
about. But to go back, it's in the heart, man. So you running your business like Christ from the heart, and
Yeah.
not just from a bottom line or just from a
Yeah.
legal space. We are to be set apart in many ways, and so that is just one way how you can truly be set apart. Let the heart of Christ even be in your business.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can think about times I've had to do that from a standpoint with patience, love, and forgiveness when it comes to clients and
I'm working on patience.
revisions. And man,
I'm working on
I'm
that.
just trying to get it, because you know, when you ask the Lord for something, man, He gonna make you work for it. He gonna make you earn
Yeah.
it. You know what I'm saying? You gonna get tested a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna get tested a lot, man. So
Yeah.
for those who are getting into your industry, well, honestly, just for an entrepreneur, period, what advice do you have for an entrepreneur, period, no matter what business that they're getting into?
Yeah. Period. I would say, you know what? Make sure your legal stuff is right. Like form your business, right? Just to make sure things are like in order. Form your business. Excuse me, your business structures. DBAs alone are not sufficient. It's just not. It leaves you way too exposed, unprotected. I have learned so much now that I'm like, I really enjoy business now. Like I love it. I look
Yeah.
for other businesses that I could partner with, even though with like I have this in my mind. I got a list of others that I want to partner with. Because I love the idea of like the commerce of it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it has to be done correctly.
Yeah.
Like, so make sure if you pay the money to get the stuff done. I would say that from a business standpoint too, specifically to those of us that submit to Christ, like as this whole series that you're doing is one, continue to yield to Him about the business that you want to do. I think for me, it was kind of difficult to even like kind of go into business because I was like, well, I'm a Christian. Am I supposed to be in business? And da da da, which is crazy because it was business folks. It's business folks in the Bible, like that was helping the saints, right?
Look at that Proverbs 31 woman.
Correct. Oh. I'm gonna text y'all. I'm gonna text you. I got a group text for you. You, your wife, my wife. After this, because that, yeah. I actually think she's watching. I think I saw her pop up. But yes, continue to submit and lean on God for your business. And honestly, businesses fail and businesses succeed every day. So even if one fails or if it doesn't like fully thresh out, that doesn't necessarily not mean you're not supposed to be in business. Maybe that just wasn't the business for you. Maybe the Lord was showing you something about that business or how you ran that structure or whatever. I don't know. Like I said earlier, He speaks to us differently. We got negotiables and we got non-negotiables. He speaks to us differently. So continue to submit, get your business in good order in the legal fashion. Make sure your stuff is documented. Pay your taxes. I'm gonna say that too. Pay your taxes. Okay.
Yeah.
Pay your taxes, right? Don't try to skim and scoop out of paying them. I don't like them either. But we pay our taxes, right?
Damn.
We color in the bounds of the law, right? If the law give you this, take that. Don't take no more than that, right?
Yeah.
So that's all I would say. Just keep submitting. Get your business in good order. Also, you know what? I will say this too. I've heard it and I thought it was so cliche or it was just like, but it's actually kind of true. Your first set of like supporters is really not your close circle. It's really, really not. And it's not their fault. It's really not their fault because they're too close to you, right? They've been with you through the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs, right? So I didn't even get mad when my friends didn't see the vision. I didn't get mad because what I realized is it's my vision. Like as a friend, I just need you to support it. I don't need you to get it. I don't really need you to be in the trenches with me. I just need you to be a friend and support. But I did find like my core group of supporters that even to this day, my core group of supporters for what I do in my business and my commentary and all that, it's not the people that are in my inner circle. Now they've gotten there because they now see me in a different light because the world sees me in a certain way, right? And so I've been blessed enough to where the small core that I have, it ain't been no funny stuff, right? Ain't nobody switched up on me or, whatever the case may be. They just see me differently because of what I do and how impactful it is. So now they can see through just Quentin. They can actually see it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, be okay with that. It's not their fault, especially even mine. I was talking politics. I never talked politics with my friends before. They didn't care. That was something me and my mom bonded over. So when I went into politics, I can't expect them to care.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't into it prior to, right? So
Yeah.
just know that it's really not the core, and that's okay. Let it be okay. Truly, let it be okay.
Yeah.
That don't mean you got to throw them away. Some maybe, if need be, not throw away. Sometimes you got to sever the tie. But I've been blessed enough to where my core group, they're still the core group.
That's beautiful. That is good, bro. I feel like that within itself will even trip you up. We're talking about, things that you got to work on yourself, and I can just imagine it's like, somebody thinking, even my close friends, they don't feel this way about it. So should I even be doing this?
Yeah.
That'll cause you to probably question yourself or something.
Mm-hmm.
So between that and just the whole thing with support, that is the key. Like somebody said that is it is. It really is, man.
Yeah. Still do it. It's okay. I mean, it's okay. They don't see it. They may not even have had an interest in it before you did, right? So it's kind of not. It's almost not fair on our parts as the entrepreneur, excuse me, who's trying to create this thing to kind of get them to like the thing that we are trying to do. Their job is to just be a friend, and whatever y'all friendship look like, everybody has different bounds and rules and boundaries, but whatever y'all friendship looks like, that it's okay if they don't fully support it or if they don't fully get it. It's truly okay.
And every business and everybody would define support in a different way for their business.
Correct.
Like for me myself being a videographer and stuff like that. For me personally, I expect when I say support, I need accountability. I need constructive criticism. On my content, on my videos. Like some of the stuff that I did when I was running a business in the world and of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting some stuff.
I've seen them. I almost unfollowed you one day. I was like, oh, I can't see this. I was like, yo, too much for me. It's making me hot.
Support. That's when I needed the support, like somebody to, what you doing?
Yeah.
Like a little slap on the back of the head, like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
That's the support I need. Or like they can be straight up like, hey man, your video, it was blurry. I didn't get it. I need that constructive criticism. Like that's my support. And some likes, shares, and comments go a long way. Put me on the map.
Those are free. Those are free. Those are free. Always subscribe, like, share. That's free.
Yeah, it's free, man. It takes seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw a post. It was like your best friend or your closest people will go tell Rick Ross happy birthday, but won't like or comment your stuff. So
absolutely.
Like, you so right, man. People that you don't know you would never do nothing for you.
You do not know, but that because they view him in a certain way. Like that's what I mean. Like they see his celebrity, right? And so we already have an idea of what celebrity and awe is. Cool. Not knocking it. Cool. But they may not see you that way. And my friends, my people didn't see me. Again, I don't think I'm a celebrity. I just think I'm doing well. But they didn't see me in a certain way until they actually saw. They didn't see me that way until I got on TV. When I got on TV, everything changed.
That's everything normally how it works.
Huh?
That's normally how it works.
Yeah, everything changed. They got it. But we still cool. When I say everything changed, it changed because they got it. And they could see it now. Yeah. And they saw a certain level of success that for them validated what I was doing. And I'm okay with that because I feel like everybody is entitled to a space of arriving. Because I may not get it. You may be dating somebody that I don't get. Like, I just don't get it. Until I see it enough times, until I'm around you and that person enough times to where it's like, you know what? I actually see why you like them. I actually see why you got married to them.
Yeah.
So that's okay. It's okay. It really is.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you dropped that. Man, you definitely dropped some gems for the people, man.
Pew, 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 pew.
You definitely dropped some gems. I appreciate it, man. When I tell you, man, this one was so good. Let me tell you this. Normally, these be like 20 to 30 minutes.
Oh, we've been in this thing an hour.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Let's go.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, was just dropping gems.
Hola,
man.
Vanessa.
But that's good, man, because I mean, the whole thing is for people to come and to receive and to be able to get to a better place.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I have to shout out my wife. She's speaking to me. Hello, Vanessa. Hola, Vanessa.
Yes. Hey,
hola.
Shout her out. What's up, Mrs. Giles? What's going on?
Listen. We're gonna be shouting out in a minute. I'm telling you, we so excited. I'm gonna group text y'all in a minute. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and shout out the beautiful Mrs. Stephanie Bassett, who was on every live. I mean,
Let's go.
And man, I think was it 2 weeks ago? If you haven't, man, go check hers out, man. She was dropping some stuff too. All of them gonna be on the what is it? The YouTube. Man, all of them on the YouTube, all the episodes. So man, thank you so much, my brother. Appreciate it, man. Love you, man. I'm so glad you came on to do this.
Absolutely, and we're excited. I'm a tease the audience. We're excited about tomorrow, so we'll see y'all tomorrow. We ready. Ready.
Hey, y'all come with some empty stomachs, man, because she you know how she do it. She finna whip up some stuff, man.
Look, let me ask a question. We brought y'all a little gift yesterday. That's still available for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Come on, man.
we only took out one.
Okay, that's all we needed to know. We just needed clarity. Clarity. We didn't know.
We good. Make sure y'all wear like some shorts or some sweatpants. Nothing restricting, cause hey, she finna throw down.
Oh, got it. Bet. Let me wash mine. My wife already started washing, so I'm gonna wash mine tonight. Not be down there.
For sure, man. Hey, man, look, enjoy your evening again, man. I love you, dog. Thank you so much.
Love you too, brother.
Appreciate it, man. And until the morning.
Absolutely. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right, man.
All right, man.
All right, y'all. Hey, thank each and every one of you for coming on and checking out this Anchor series, Running a Business in the World and Not of the World. That was Quentin R. Giles, just giving you strong examples, key points on just how to do that, run a business in the world and not of the world. As you can see from this episode to the past episodes, and from what I'm understanding in every episode in the future, how you run your business in the world and not of the world, it starts before you even have a business. It starts in the morning when you wake up. You have to be anchored in Christ, abide in him in your everyday life. If your business is in the world and not of the world, then that means your marriage is. That means your parenting is. Every relationship that you have, your life, your talk, your walk, everything is going to show. And it's just going to flow out into your business. And so people will have an understanding of why, that you are doing what you're doing, how you're doing it, because it's all from the power of Christ, the love of Christ. So that's what it is, y'all. Hey, submit to his will. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to drop this, all right? Some of y'all are running a business as an entrepreneur, and that's not your calling. That's not what God called you to do. And it's okay. It's okay. It may not be the fact that you need to run a business because you got some stuff going on at work. That might not be the case. All right? We got to get in our prayer closet and ask the Lord what's going on. Entrepreneurship is not the key to work ethic. It's not the key to a bad boss. It's not the key to everything. So are you in line with what you're supposed to be doing? So as we're talking about running a business in the world and out of the world, if you are running a business and God has not called you to this, then you're already being disobedient. The whole point is to be obedient towards Christ. Obedience. If you love God, be obedient. The word says, those who love me follow my command. So what it said, obedience is better than sacrifice. That boy wasn't playing. He said he's gonna text me right after this. If you're still watching this, bro, I got your text. But yes, so y'all tune in next week to this Anchor series, Running the Business in the World, Not of the World. If you want to get some of the other episodes, other little videos I'm dropping about being anchored when it comes to business, go to the YouTube. You can subscribe if you want to or not. I just say watch it. Whether you subscribe or not, go watch them. Go check them out. I hope they are a blessing to you. They are a blessing to me. Myself, I get something from everybody who comes on. So I appreciate y'all. I love y'all for staying this whole time. Other episodes, they normally are 20 to 30 minutes. Hey, but I am not going to stop the Spirit from doing what the Spirit do. So love y'all. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Shalom. Peace out. See y'all next week, Monday, 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.